the return home. Every athlete dreams of winning a national championship. Kaiden Cross did too. After a breakout season at South Carolina, Kaiden had become one of the most sought-after players in the transfer portal. Programs from across the country called with promises of playoff runs, NIL deals, and national exposure. The easy choice would have been to join a powerhouse already built to compete for a title. But Kaiden knew something. He wasn't finished growing. He still had more to prove, not just to the football world, but to himself. Then his phone rang. Virginia Tech. The school that had overlooked him as a high school recruit. The program he grew up dreaming of playing for. The same coaches who once believed other players were better now had one message. We made a mistake. Kaiden didn't choose Virginia Tech because it was the easiest path to a championship. He chose it because it was the hardest, because unfinished business has a way of calling you home. At his commitment ceremony, Kaiden looked into the cameras and smiled. People think I'm coming back for revenge. They're wrong. I'm coming back to finish what I started. When I was a kid, all I wanted was one opportunity to wear this jersey. I never got it. So I went somewhere else, learned what adversity feels like, fought through injuries, earned everything I have, and became the player I was always capable of being. Now I'm coming back, not as the recruit they passed on, but as the player they wish they had all along. The forgotten prospect had become Virginia Tech's biggest addition. The school that once overlooked Kaiden Cross was now building its defense around him. His dream of winning a national championship hadn't changed. But before chasing the biggest prize in college football, he wanted to make sure one program would never again wonder what could have been. Because sometimes the greatest comeback isn't returning to prove people wrong, it's returning to prove how much you've grown. And in Blacksburg, Kaiden Cross was ready to begin the next chapter of his legacy. The debut. Every journey begins with a moment. For Kaiden Cross, that moment came under the lights against the Maryland Terrapins. Virginia Tech's season opener wasn't just another football game. It was the first chapter in the return of the player the Hokies once overlooked. After leaving South Carolina through the transfer portal, Kaiden Cross stepped onto Lane Stadium carrying expectations, questions, and something to prove. Fans wondered if the all-SEC safety could transform Virginia Tech's defense. NFL scouts watched closely, so did everyone who remembered the recruit Virginia Tech had once passed on. From the opening drive, Cross looked like the best player on the field. He flew downhill to stop the run. He erased passing windows. He directed the secondary like he'd been in Blacksburg for years. Then, the game changed. A pass floated over the middle. Cross broke on it. Interception. A convoy formed. Touchdown, pick six. The Lane Stadium crowd exploded. Maryland answered, but Cross wasn't finished. Late in the second quarter, the Terrapins tested him again. Same result. He undercut the route, secured the football, and raced untouched to the end zone for his second pick six of the afternoon. The nation was stunned. By halftime, the transfer safety already had one of the greatest debuts in Virginia Tech history. But football is the ultimate team game. Maryland refused to quit. Every time Virginia Tech's defense forced a stop, the offense gave the ball right back. The Hokies' defense continued fighting, but the pressure never stopped. Cross kept making plays, another interception, another pass breakup, tackle after tackle. By the fourth quarter, he'd filled every column on the stat sheet. Final stats: 3 interceptions, 2 pick sixes, 1 pass breakup, 13 assisted tackles, 7 solo tackles. It should have been enough. Instead, with the game hanging in the balance, Virginia Tech's offense committed one final mistake. A Maryland linebacker jumped a pass, intercepted it, and returned it for the game-winning touchdown. Silence fell over Lane Stadium. Final score, Maryland 51, Virginia Tech 45. The Hokies had lost. But one thing was undeniable. Kaiden Cross had announced himself as one of the premier defensive players in college football. The scoreboard belonged to Maryland. The headlines belonged to Kaiden Cross. And with 4 more games waiting on the schedule, one question echoed across college football. If this is how Kaiden started, what was he going to do next? No letdown. Great players have breakout games. The greatest players prove it wasn't a fluke. 1 week after delivering one of the most electrifying defensive debuts in college football history, Kaiden Cross was no longer a secret. Every quarterback knew his name. Every offensive coordinator built a game plan around avoiding him. After earning both ACC Defensive Player of the Week and National Defensive Player of the Week, Cross walked into Week 2 carrying the weight of skyrocketing expectations. The opponent was Liberty. The message inside Virginia Tech's locker room was simple. Don't overlook anybody. Kaiden wasn't interested in the awards anymore, he wanted wins. From the opening snap, Virginia Tech looked like a different football team. The offense moved the ball with confidence. The offensive line controlled the trenches. Special teams consistently won the field position battle. For the first time all season, every phase of the game was working together. Meanwhile, Kaiden Cross picked up right where he left off. He flew downhill to stuff Liberty's running game before it could get started. He diagnosed screens before they developed. He patrolled the middle of the field like a center fielder, taking away every deep throw. By halftime, Liberty had nowhere to attack. Then came the play everyone would remember. Liberty's quarterback tried forcing a throw across the middle. Cross broke on the football before the receiver even turned around. He snatched the pass out of the air, cut across the field behind a wall of blockers, and sprinted untouched into the end zone. Pick 6, his third defensive touchdown in just 2 games. The crowd erupted as Lane Stadium shook once again. The game was over long before the final whistle. Virginia Tech dominated from start to finish. Final score, Virginia Tech 54, Liberty 10. Kaiden Cross versus Liberty, 22 total tackles, 12 solo tackles, 10 assisted tackles, 1 interception, 1 pick 6. The numbers were unbelievable. In only 2 games as a Hokie, Cross had totaled 42 tackles, 4 interceptions, 3 pick 6s. Analysts across ESPN, Fox Sports and College Game Day began asking a new question. Is Kaiden Cross the best defensive player in college football? The awards kept coming. The NFL scouts kept filling the stands, and Virginia Tech, now sitting at 1-1, had found its identity. The Hokies weren't just rebuilding anymore, they had a superstar. But the next challenge would be much tougher. The Pitt Panthers were coming to Blacksburg, and for the first time all season, Kaiden Cross would face a team determined to test him on every snap. Every championship run has a moment where everything hangs in the balance. For Virginia Tech, that moment came in Pittsburgh. After an electric start to his Hokie career, Kaiden Cross entered the first ACC conference game carrying enormous momentum. 2 games, 4 interceptions, 3 pick 6s. National Defensive Player of the Week. The spotlight wasn't just on Virginia Tech anymore, it was on the nation's newest defensive superstar. This wasn't just another game, it was the first conference test, a must-win if the Hokies wanted to keep their college football playoff dreams alive. And once again, Kaiden answered the call. He flew downhill against the run, broke up passing lanes, and reminded everyone why quarterbacks were beginning to avoid throwing anywhere near him. His stat line was outstanding. 7 solo tackles, 6 assisted tackles, 1 interception returned for a touchdown, another game-changing defensive performance. For 3 quarters, Virginia Tech traded punches with Pitt. Every time the Panthers threatened to pull away, Kaiden found a way to swing the momentum back toward the Hokies. But football is never a one-man game. As the second half wore on, the cracks began to show. The Hokies' offense couldn't sustain drives. 3-and-outs piled up. The defense, exhausted from spending so much time on the field, finally began to wear down. Explosive plays that had been stopped earlier in the game suddenly became touchdowns. The energy Virginia Tech had built all afternoon slowly disappeared. Despite another defensive score from Cross, it wasn't enough. The Panthers took control late, while Virginia Tech watched another opportunity slip away. For Kaiden, the loss was frustrating. 3 games into his return to Blacksburg, he had already become one of the most feared defenders in college football. Yet the wins weren't following the performances. Questions started creeping back into his mind. How much more can I do? Is this team close or still a year away? The season wasn't over. Neither were the Hokies' playoff hopes, but the margin for error had disappeared. Every remaining ACC game had become a playoff game, and Kaiden Cross knew one thing. If Virginia Tech wanted to keep dreaming about a national championship, They couldn't afford another loss. The breakout continues. Sometimes greatness doesn't announce itself slowly. Sometimes it explodes. Just 3 games into his return to Virginia Tech, Kaiden Cross had become the biggest defensive story in college football. The former overlooked recruit who once left Blacksburg searching for respect had come back with something to prove. And through 3 games, he was proving everyone wrong. 5 interceptions, 4 of them returned for touchdowns, 27 total tackles, 2 pass breakups, 1 sack. Every Saturday, it seemed like Kaiden Cross was responsible for changing the outcome of the game. Quarterbacks stopped looking in his direction. Offensive coordinators began redesigning their game plans. National analysts started mentioning his name alongside the best defensive players in America. The Hokies had found the leader of their defense. But now, the schedule became even tougher. Another ACC challenge awaited. The North Carolina Tar Heels, a talented offense, an experienced quarterback, an opportunity for Virginia Tech to prove they belonged among the conference's elite. Most expected North Carolina to test Cross like no team had before. Instead, Kaiden delivered the greatest performance of his career. From the opening drive, he looked like he knew every play before the ball was even snapped. Every route, every throw, every mistake, he was there. The first interception stunned the stadium. The second sent the Virginia Tech sideline into celebration. Then came the third, another interception, another sprint down the sideline, another touchdown, 3 interceptions, 3 pick sixes, 1 unforgettable afternoon. By the 4th quarter, fans weren't asking if Kaiden Cross was the best safety in the ACC. They were asking if anyone in the country was playing better football. His final stat line was unbelievable. 7 assisted tackles, 3 solo tackles, 1 pass deflection, 3 interceptions, 3 defensive touchdowns, a performance that instantly became part of Virginia Tech football history. The Hokies didn't just beat North Carolina, they made a statement. And at the center of it all was number 7, the forgotten prospect, the player Virginia Tech once overlooked. Now he had become the heartbeat of the Hokies defense. A nightmare for opposing quarterbacks, a national superstar, and with every interception, every touchdown, every game-changing play, Kaiden Cross was forcing the entire college football world to ask one question. Was this simply the hottest start in the nation, or were they witnessing the rise of the best defensive player in college football? Kaiden Cross, the Heisman defender. Some players chase history, others force history to chase them. Just weeks ago, Kaiden Cross was the story because he transferred back to the school that once overlooked him. Now, he's the biggest story in college football. After opening his Virginia Tech career with highlight reel performances against Maryland, Liberty, Pitt, and North Carolina, Cross had already become the nation's most feared defender. Quarterbacks stopped throwing toward him. Offensive coordinators redesigned entire game plans just to avoid number 7. And yet, every Saturday, he somehow found another level. The next challenge was another ACC rival, the Duke Blue Devils. On paper, it was just another conference matchup. In reality, it became another chapter in one of the greatest defensive seasons college football had ever witnessed. From the opening drive, Kaiden looked like he knew every play before the ball was snapped. He baited quarterbacks into mistakes, closed passing windows that didn't seem possible, and turned routine throws into unforgettable moments. By the end of the afternoon, the stat sheet barely seemed believable. 5 interceptions, 3 returned for touchdowns, and 1 play that instantly became part of college football lore. A quarterback floated a pass near his own goal line. Cross jumped the route. 99 yards of open field stood between him and the opposite end zone. He never looked back. 101 yards, end zone to end zone. Touchdown. Lane Stadium erupted. Teammates sprinted onto the field before he even crossed the goal line, knowing they had just witnessed history. Commentators couldn't believe what they were watching. This isn't normal. This isn't luck. We're watching the greatest defensive player in college football. The interception wasn't just another score. It shattered another school record, another ACC record, and pushed Kaiden even further into the Heisman conversation, something almost unheard of for a safety. Week after week, he kept answering the same question. How do you top last Saturday? Somehow. He always did. By the end of the Duke game, analysts across the country weren't asking if Kaiden Cross was the best defensive player in America anymore. They were asking if any player, offense or defense, had been more valuable to their team. Every sports show led with his highlights. Every mock draft had him climbing. Every Heisman projection moved his name higher. The forgotten prospect had become the face of college football. And with every record he broke, the biggest games of the season were still waiting. The rampage. Some defenders make tackles, some defenders change games. Kaiden Cross changed seasons. After becoming the most feared defensive player in college football, Kaiden Cross wasn't slowing down. Every Saturday became another opportunity to rewrite the record books. The next challenge came against Louisville. On paper, it was another ACC matchup. On the field, it became another chapter in Kaiden Cross's historic season. From the opening drive, Louisville's quarterback couldn't escape him. Every read over the middle seemed to end the same way, with number 7 breaking on the football, one interception, then another, then another. By halftime, the crowd wasn't asking if Kaiden would make another play. They were asking how many more. Every turnover swung momentum further toward Virginia Tech. The Hokies' offense capitalized, while Cross continued to erase Louisville's passing attack. When the final whistle sounded, the stat line looked almost unbelievable. Kaiden Cross versus Louisville, 8 solo tackles, 5 assisted tackles, 5 interceptions, multiple pick sixes. Virginia Tech's offense poured on points, but it was the defense that told the story. Final score, Virginia Tech 61, Louisville 34. By now, the conversation had shifted. He wasn't just the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, he wasn't just the nation's best safety. Analysts were debating whether anyone had ever dominated a season from the defensive side of the ball the way Kaiden Cross had. Every interception seemed bigger than the last. Every pick six added another highlight. Every week, another record fell. Opposing quarterbacks stopped looking toward number 7, because by then, everyone knew exactly where he was, and if the ball went anywhere near him, there was a good chance he was taking it the other way. The ultimate test. Every legend reaches a moment where greatness alone isn't enough. After weeks of rewriting the record books, Kaiden Cross had become the biggest name in college football. Quarterbacks feared him. Receivers avoided his side of the field. Every Saturday ended with another interception, another pick six, another highlight that dominated SportsCenter. But now, everything came down to one game, the No. 1-ranked Miami Hurricanes stood between Virginia Tech and its championship dreams. The atmosphere was electric. National media called it the biggest game of the season. Heisman voters packed the press box. NFL scouts filled every sideline. For Kaiden, this was the opportunity to prove that the nation's best player wasn't a quarterback, it was a safety. From the opening kickoff, Cross played with relentless intensity. He flew downhill to stop the run. He blanketed receivers over the middle. He directed the secondary like a veteran. Then came the turnovers. One interception, then another. Miami kept testing him, and every mistake became another Kaiden Cross highlight. By the fourth quarter, the impossible had happened. 6 interceptions, a new personal record. Several of those interceptions became touchdowns, extending an unbelievable streak of multiple consecutive games with a pick six. Week after week, 7 found the end zone from the defensive side of the ball. He finished with 6 interceptions, multiple pick sixes, 8 solo tackles, 9 assisted tackles. It was another performance that belonged in the history books. But football is the ultimate team game. Despite Cross doing everything possible, Miami's explosive offense found just enough answers late. Virginia Tech's offense battled until the final whistle, refusing to quit, but the comeback fell just short. When the clock hit 0, the scoreboard read, number 1 Miami 53, Virginia Tech 46. The loss stung, not because Kaiden had failed, but because one of the greatest individual defensive performances college football had ever seen still wasn't enough to defeat the nation's top-ranked team. As Cross walked off the field, the Miami crowd celebrated. The Virginia Tech sidelines stood silent, and the entire college football world was left saying the same thing. If a safety can record 6 interceptions against the number 1 team in the country, what records are left for Kaiden Cross to break? The Hokies had lost the game, but Kaiden Cross had once again made history. no letdown. One game can make headlines. Consistency makes legends. After dominating Louisville, after going toe-to-toe with the nation's best against Miami, many wondered if Kaiden Cross would finally slow down. California hoped they would be the team to cool off the hottest defender in college football. They were wrong. From the opening drive, the Hokies defense looked locked in, and once again, the center of it all was number 7. Kaiden Cross wasn't chasing statistics anymore. He was chasing greatness. Every quarterback knew where he was. It didn't matter. Late in the first quarter, Cal tested him deep down the sideline. Cross read the quarterback's eyes, broke on the football, and came away with his first interception of the afternoon. The crowd erupted. The offense capitalized. Virginia Tech took control. But Kaiden wasn't finished. In the third quarter, with Cal desperately trying to build momentum, their quarterback floated another pass toward the middle of the field. Cross recognized the route before the receiver even made his cut. He stepped in front, snatched the football out of the air, and this time, 90-plus yards later, touchdown, Hokies. Another pick six, another game-changing moment, another reminder that throwing toward number 7 came with consequences. When he wasn't intercepting passes, he was locking down receivers. 2 perfectly timed pass breakups erased Cal's best scoring opportunities. Against the run, he was everywhere. 7 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle, a complete defensive performance. When the final whistle sounded, there was no doubt who owned the field. Virginia Tech 45, California 6. Another dominant win, another defensive masterpiece. Another week where Kaiden Cross looked less like a safety and more like the most feared player in college football. The interceptions kept coming, the touchdowns kept coming, the records kept falling, and as the season rolled on, the rest of the nation was beginning to ask a question no one imagined asking just months earlier. Could a defensive back actually win the Heisman Trophy? Finding a way, championship teams don't just win the blowouts, they survive the fights. Fresh off another dominant defensive performance against California, the Virginia Tech Hokies carried momentum into their next ACC matchup against Boston College. On paper, it looked like another game Virginia Tech should control. Instead, it became a 4-quarter war. Every time the Hokies created separation, Boston College answered. The crowd could feel it. One mistake would decide everything. For the first time in weeks, Kaiden Cross wasn't putting up record-breaking interception numbers. He didn't need to. He understood that championship football isn't always about making 5 spectacular plays. Sometimes it's about making 1. As the fourth quarter wound down and Boston College drove into Virginia Tech territory looking to take the lead, everyone in the stadium held their breath. The quarterback looked toward the sideline on a deep comeback route. He never saw number 7. Cross baited the throw, exploded underneath the route, and came away with yet another interception. The turnover flipped the entire game. Virginia Tech's offense capitalized, taking the lead for good while the defense closed the door. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't another 4 or 5 interception performance, but it may have been one of the biggest plays of the season. When the final whistle echoed through Lane Stadium, Virginia Tech had survived. Virginia Tech 34, Boston College 28. Kaiden Cross finished another outstanding afternoon with 1 game-sealing interception, 3 solo tackles, 10 assisted tackles. Sometimes greatness is measured by statistics. Other times, it's measured by the moment when your team needs you most. For Kaiden Cross, it was becoming clear that no matter how the game unfolded, when the Hokies needed a play, number 7 always seemed to deliver. And with another conference win secured, Virginia Tech's championship hopes were still alive. The rest of the ACC was beginning to realize one thing. If they wanted to reach the college football playoff, they would have to find a way past the nation's most feared safety. Every great season has a stretch where contenders separate themselves from everyone else. For Virginia Tech, this was that stretch. The Hokies entered the week with a 6-4 record. Across the field stood SMU, also sitting at 6-4, with both teams fighting to keep their postseason hopes alive. On paper, it looked like one of the most evenly matched games of the season. But Kaiden Cross had no interest in playing another close game. By now, the nation had seen it week after week. Interception after interception, pick six after pick six, record after record. And against SMU, he reminded everyone why he was college football's most feared defender. Before the first half was over, Cross had already baited quarterbacks into mistakes they didn't even realize they were making. He closed passing windows before receivers reached them. He erased explosive plays. He turned momentum into points. By the final whistle, the stat sheet looked unreal. 3 interceptions, 1 defensive touchdown, 1 pass breakup. 8 solo tackles, 6 assisted tackles. Another complete takeover. Virginia Tech didn't just win, they dominated. Virginia Tech 67, SMU 12. The scoreboard wasn't just a victory. It was another statement to the College Football Playoff Committee, to Heisman voters, and to every offense still left on the schedule. Kaiden Cross wasn't simply the best safety in America anymore. He was changing the way the position was viewed. Quarterbacks stopped testing him. Offensive coordinators built entire game plans around avoiding number 7. And somehow, he still found the football every single week. The interceptions kept piling up, the touchdowns kept coming, the records kept falling. The Heisman campaign was no longer about whether a defensive player could win. It had become one question: how could anyone vote against Kaiden Cross? Every superstar eventually meets a team with one goal: don't let him beat you. For nearly the entire season, Kaiden Cross had been college football's ultimate game changer. Quarterbacks challenged him. They paid the price. 5 interceptions, 3 interceptions, pick 6 after pick 6. Every Saturday seemed to end with 7 standing in the end zone, football in hand, while another offense searched for answers. But in late November, Virginia Tech's biggest test arrived. Notre Dame, a college football playoff contender, a disciplined offense, a veteran quarterback, and a game plan built around one simple objective: keep the football away from Kaiden Cross. From the opening drive, it was obvious Notre Dame had done its homework. The quarterback never stared down receivers. He refused to throw into Cross's side of the field. Every pump fake, every disguise, every bait that had fooled quarterbacks all season. Notre Dame ignored it. Instead, they leaned on a balanced attack, taking what the defense gave them and refusing to create the turnovers that had fueled Virginia Tech's success. For perhaps the first time all season, Kaiden couldn't change the game with one play. That didn't mean he disappeared. Far from it. He became the last line of defense, flying sideline to sideline and making tackle after tackle to keep the Hokies alive. When the final whistle blew, Cross had finished with 17 total tackles, 10 assisted tackles, 7 solo tackles. A tremendous individual effort, but no interceptions, no pick sixes, no momentum-changing takeaway. Notre Dame had accomplished what no other offense could. They had neutralized the nation's most dangerous defensive player. Without the explosive plays that had become Virginia Tech's identity, the Irish slowly pulled away. The scoreboard told the story. Notre Dame 48, Virginia Tech 34. The loss was more than another mark in the standings. It effectively ended Virginia Tech's hopes of reaching the college football playoff. For the first time all season, Kaiden Cross walked off the field, knowing effort alone wasn't enough. Sometimes greatness meets an opponent that refuses to blink. And sometimes the hardest lesson isn't learning how to dominate, it's learning how to respond when someone finally finds a way to stop you. For Kaiden Cross, that moment would become fuel, because legends aren't remembered for never losing, they're remembered for what they did after. History had never seen anything like Kaiden Cross. Not a quarterback, not a running back, not a wide receiver. A free safety had just won the Heisman Trophy. After a season that rewrote the record books, Kaiden Cross stood alone. Interception after interception, pick 6 after pick 6, week after week. Offenses built entire game plans around avoiding number 7 and still couldn't stop him. But despite his historic season, Virginia Tech finished 9-4. Losses to Pitt, Miami, and Notre Dame ended the Hokies' playoff hopes. Kaiden had done everything a defensive player could do, yet football remained the ultimate team game. Now the transfer portal was open once again. Every powerhouse wanted him. Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama, Texas. Programs with one promise: come here and we'll help you win the national championship. But another voice echoed louder. Virginia Tech believed in me after everyone overlooked me. He had returned home. He had brought the Hokies back into national relevance. He had won the Heisman in maroon and orange. Now came the hardest decision of his career. Does he stay loyal and finish what he started? Or does the greatest defensive player in college football take one final step toward the one thing missing from his legacy, a national championship? The football world waited. The cameras followed. And for the second straight off-season, Kaiden Cross would change college football with one decision.